everyone, Amethyst here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. I know this is a weird video to be posting after like 4 months of absence, but I wanted to make a tutorial on the new magic mod I've created for Stardew Valley called Ars Venifici. I can't exactly pronounce it correctly. It's in Latin. I tried seeing if I could get like a good translation of the art of wizardry or the art of sorcery in Latin. I wanted to use Ars in the name because this is kind of like the functions for this mod for the spellcasting is like a C# port of like the functionality for the Ars Magica Legacy mod for Minecraft. I asked for permission to see if they were okay with me like posting and sharing this mod, and I got the okay. So here we are. I posted the mod. The link to it will be in the description of the video. So yeah. Someone requested a tutorial for this mod, and I realized not everyone who plays Stardew Valley plays Minecraft, and even then those people who play Minecraft, not all of them has played like the original Ars Magica and Ars Magica Legacy or messed around with another mod called Ars Novu. So here I am making this tutorial. The reason for making this mod was because I felt like Stardew Valley was like missing a lot of magic mods and like spellcrafting customizability. There were other magic mods like Stardew Druid and the magic mod by 𝗵𝗁𝗁𝗂𝗃. They were fun. I really liked it, but I still felt like it was missing like that customizability for like spellcasting, because like I love like spellcasting, like magic games that allows you to like create custom spells instead of giving you the prefab fireball spell that a lot of games just put out. Like at least magic based games where there's like magic casting installed. Like another game that I really like that allows you to really customize the spells is like Mages of Mystralia. Like that's like one of my favorite games. So this mod was born out of a love for spellcasting and magic mods and everything. So without further ado, I'll just get started on explaining how to use this mod. So this mod adds in a new skill called wizardry. You will not be able to access the spellbook menu and the mana bar and leveling up for the skill until you have reached 4 hearts with the wizard. So once you have reached 4 hearts with the wizard, if you do not have Stardew Valley Expanded installed, all you would need to do is just simply enter his house and the cutscene will play. But since I have Stardew Valley Expanded installed, and if you do have Stardew Valley Expanded installed, you need to enter into his house but go into the custom basement that the mod adds. So I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna skip this because I use cheats to unlock the community center and everything. Just don't mind this. Alright, so this is the new because like Stardew Valley Expanded changes the way his house looks. So if you have that installed, all you have to do is head down here and the cutscene will play. I do not have music turned on, but the wizard music will turn on once you have this cutscene playing. I'm not going to read it out loud because once I read stuff on screen, my brain kind of stops working. So I'll just let you read this. I'll just let the cutscene play silently. And yeah. Yeah. Alright. So once you've seen that cutscene, you'll be your wizardry skill will turn into the first level, and the mana bar will appear. You'll get 100 mana at the first level, and this little label will also appear as well. And not only that, you'll have access to the spellbook menu. So I'll just teleport back to the farm and I'll just show you what all these do. So similar to like Ars Nova and Ars Magica Legacy and the original Ars Magica mod for Minecraft, to create spells you need to place shape into the shape group and the components into the spell grammar area. So once you have placed the shape group, the shapes into a shape group, these modifiers will appear once you put the first shape in the first shape group. So let me get something like touch and then dig. So with the original Ars Magica mod and Ars Magica Legacy, at least with the original Ars Magica mod, you're only able to like use one of the shape groups, and then as you progress, level up, and advance through the mod, I think eventually the rest of the shape groups will unlock and you'll be able to use more shape groups with your spells. I just made it so that like some of the shape groups aren't locked. The reason for this was mainly a bug with the UI. The UI wasn't working correctly. Once I figured out that bug and get it to work properly, I'll probably turn the spell shape group locking back on, because even with having all of these unlocked, like there's still bugs. Like you can still like click through the rest of the shape groups and everything and like mess up the UI, or at least the order of the components in the shape groups. So what I will say is, if you're going to, as you fill up the shape group, you need to make sure that you fill them in order. So like from left to right, so this shape group, and then this shape group, and then this shape group, and then this shape group, and etc, etc. None of them can have gaps. So if there is a gap in your shape group area configuration, the spell will not be valid and it will not cast. So if you want your spells to cast, just make sure you fill out your shape groups like this with no gaps. If there's an empty shape group like this, that's fine. It is just that there can be a gap in between, like this empty and then this is filled. So make sure you fill out your shape groups that way so that your spells will be able to be cast. So I'm just going to demonstrate a few of these spells. So you can name your spells like this. I'm going to name mine Dig for the purposes of, yeah, I'll just name it Dig. And once you've closed out your spellbook menu, the spells will be saved, and each spell will be saved into a separate list, and your spell list will show up like right here. So right now I have the Dig spell showing up, and it's selected as shape group 1. So if you have your shape group filled, you'll be able to cycle through the shape groups in a spell with Shift X. Shift X. I didn't set my keybinds correctly. But yeah, you can cast your spells by using Q, or if you can change the keybinds in the config. You can change any of the buttons in the config. But yeah, if you have touch as your first shape, or ethereal touch, this like indicator will show up at the location. So with Dig, and with touch and Dig, you'll be able to like mine debris and rocks and trees and everything as if you're using an axe or a pickaxe. It does cost mana. The total amount of mana your spell uses is pretty much how many like spell shapes, spell components, and modifiers are in your spell. So like each of these shapes and components and everything, they have a specific amount of mana cost. I'll probably have an update in the future that that shows how much mana each of these cost in the tooltip. That will probably be a future update. But yeah, if you just have touch and dig, you'll just like mine the debris that's at the touch indicator. So yeah, if you have ethereal touch and dig, this is like a new shape that I added. This isn't in the original mod. But if I change to that shape group using Shift and X to go to the next one, and I switch to the one that has ethereal touch, the indicator will be under where my mouse is. So if I cast the spell with Q, it will break the terrain or mine the debris at that location, which is pretty nice. The same thing will happen with plow. There's also a plow component that allows you to plow the ground. So if I do it like this, it'll plow the ground where the indicator is, and if I go to the other shape group and cast, it will plow the ground where the indicator is, which is pretty cool. In the original mods, you're able to change the way that shapes behave, the shapes and components behave by using modifiers. So if I have touch, and let's say if I get another shape called a effect, this is also like a shape, but it has to be placed last. So if you have like projectile, touch, ethereal touch, this has to be placed after all of them. Like, so if you have touch, this has to be placed last. If you have projectile, this needs to be placed last. You can place modifiers after it, but it has to be the last shape after your list of shapes that you put. So I'm just going to put area of effect here, and then I'm going to use the plow components. Area of effect kind of like increases the area where the spell is cast. So if you just have area of effect with no extra modifiers, because there is a range modifier, it'll just create a 3x3 area of the shape. So yeah, the same thing is done with the dig spell. So if I just get the dig spell and let's see, and if I cast it over here, it digs in like a 3x3 area. You can increase the size of area of effect with range. Since you can only put like a total amount of 4 like spell shape and modifiers in each shape group area. So for this like shape group, a maximum of like 4 things can be put in here, and each shape group is separate, so you can't just like have like a whole bunch of ranges after, because that's not how it works. It's just like a form. This is pretty much like a form that the spell can like take, and then you can switch between forms. It's a bit complicated. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but that's pretty much how it works. So if I put if I put 2 ranges modifiers on these dig spells, it increases the range of the area of effect. Each range modifier increases the area of effect by 1. This has been adjusted to fit Stardew Valley, because I know like with iridium sprinklers, like for farms, it will be easier to set up like farm plots that way. So yeah, so instead of, there's just like a different value for it in the original mods, but each range modifier increases the area of effect by 1. So if I remove 1 and then I put plow in here, I'll just rename this as S. If I did I put my, yes, I put the scythe in there. And I'll just put these back in the chest. So if I cast the spell with the increased area of effect range, it creates like a tilde spot that you'll be able to put a iridium sprinkler in here. So yeah, you can have multiple spells in a spell book. I've just been doing everything in one spell page, but you can have like, say, dig. I'll just put range, and then the dig spell, and then I can put like ethereal touch. Same thing here. You can also use projectile, but I'll cover that in a bit. So there's dig, and then if I go over here, and then if I create something similar, one range, and then plow. And if I name this plow, I'm able to cycle through them, which is pretty cool. So there's plow, and then there's plow, and then there's dig, and there's this other dig, which is pretty nice. I like how you're able to customize it. So yeah, there's also other components that you can use with some of these configurations. There's grow. It'll grow crops and trees. It'll advance it by 1 day, and then there's harvest. It'll harvest like grown crop. There's something called torch or light. Let me see. Let me get all these. I don't know if I haven't tried this with area effect. I could probably do that. So there's light. There's like a light spell that you can use. It places torches using at the specified location. It does take a bit of mana though, and the torches that are created using this, you will not be able to get those back. So you can't farm a whole bunch of torches and just spam them. I made sure that if you've created torches using this, you won't be able to get them back. So there's one, and then there's a torch at, oh yeah, I don't have enough mana. Right. So early on, you'll probably find yourself running out of mana quickly. This might change in the future, but eventually, right now I have it so that if you eat food, the amount of energy a food item gives you, it'll give you the same amount of mana. So let me see if I do have quite a lot of mods in my save file, so let me see, what can I I'll use this one. So let me get by, and then if I eat this, as you can see, it has recovered my mana. This might change once I figured out how to like give others the ability to add items that specifically recover mana instead of energy, or that can give you energy but specifically gives you additional mana as well. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So right now, every food that you can eat, it'll essentially give you back mana. So yeah, let me see. I kind of want to see if I haven't tried this out yet, but let's see. Let me get back to the second one. So even because light costs a lot of mana, if you put area of effect with it early on, it'll probably eat through your mana, because it's saying I don't have enough mana even though I'm at 100. So yeah, I'll probably do that on a different like testing save. But yeah, now I can show you how projectiles work. Projectiles will not work with plow effect if you only have like a plow, or maybe it does, because it doesn't work the same way you expect. Because in Minecraft you have like 3D space, there's another dimension that where the projectiles will be effective. But I could like use this as a test. So there's the shift through that. Yeah, I don't think it works the same way. But I could probably use it in conjunction with this though. So with projectiles, so if you have like the projectile shape, it'll just shoot a ball, like a mana projectile, in the direction where your mouse cursor is. Oh yeah, it doesn't foul, so I don't think it works. I don't think it works the way I expected it to. But if you have projectile and dig, it will mine the specified target. It will mine specified target and disappear. So yeah, all you have to do is just aim your mouse at the location where you want the projectile to go, and then cast your spell, and it'll work. The higher your wizardry level is, the more effective you'll be able to mine things. So similar to how like the regular pickaxes and axes work. So if you have like harder like debris such as these dumps, you won't be able to mine them. If you go into higher levels in the mine, you'll have to cast the spell more times in order to mine your ores and harder rocks and stuff. With projectiles, you can increase the velocity. So if I put more velocity modifiers on these, you can go pretty fast. Yep. There is also a piercing modifier. So if you have like a damage based component, so let me make a new projectile. So if you have like a damage based component like physical damage, at least from looking at the documentation on how normal projectiles work in the base game, pierces seems to increase the number of times the projectile pierces enemies before disappearing. I haven't done too much testing with it, but I've added it because there is an option in that projectile and it could be useful in some situations, so that's why I've added it. There's also the bounce modifier. I never used this modifier in the original Minecraft mod, and it seems to work a bit oddly in Stardew Valley with the way projectiles work. So bounce just makes it so that it just bounces off like walls. So I guess let's say if you've missed or something, it kind of just bounces off like that. Yeah. It seems all the projectiles seem to disappear once one of them hits the target. I might fix that issue in another update. I didn't realize until kind of late. But it physical damage does cost, I believe, like 25 mana points. I'll probably put all of the yeah, I'll put like the mana points out in a different update. But yeah, that's how range works. And damage just strengthens the amount of damage based components deal. So like with regular physical damage, it adds, I believe I added like either 10 or 20 damage points to the damage modifier. I can't remember, but it just gives you more damage essentially. And then similar to like healing spells, there's a healing modifier. It just increases the strength of healing components. So there is the stealth component, and that's like an ability for you to apply effects to yourself. So let's just put the damage modifier back on here. And if I cast my spell onto myself, you can see that it took a bit of my health. Let me just eat this. And then cast my spell. so it does take a lot of mana. So yeah, as you can see, it took a bit of my health. And if I get another spell components and a heal components, and if I increase that with a healing. Oh, nope, that's not. I need to change my controls. If I use my, you can see that it's healing. Oh yeah. There is also life drain. So life drain kind of acts the same way as physical damage, but once it hits an enemy, you'll heal based on the damage that it took. So I can probably go off and show this in the mines. So let me take this off, give a projectile, increase the velocity, increase the piercing as well, and put life drain on here. And then if I go to the mines, I'll just skip the cutscene because you can probably these spells can be like useful when you're going to the mines. Right now they don't seem to work with modded ores added by item extensions. I don't know if there's something I need to do on my end, or if that's something the mod creator for that mod needs to do on their end in order for it to work properly. But as a heads up, if you have like custom modded ores added in by that mod, right now the dig spells do not mine them, so you'll have to mine them with the regular pickaxe. Alright, so I'll just get my damage spell out. So right now, the damage scales based on your combat level. So if you're not very high in your combat level, the damage won't be that high. But as you advance through your combat, if you don't have any damage modifiers applied to your damage-based spells, if you scale up with your combat, that number will be increased. So let me put another damage modifier on here. I need to turn this off, turn my drone off, so that I can show the life steal. So I'll just get hurt by this slime for a little bit. Okay. So as you can see, it healed my health. I'll show a different example. Let me see, is there another— ooh! Jesus Christ. Okay, I might have to turn my drone back on. Because I don't think it worked. Oh, there's a lot of slimes. Okay. Come get me. So as you can see, I'm healing based on how much damage I'm doing. So it can be a bit janky at times, because of how like I coded the way projectiles work, but as I like add more things to this mod and like fix things and everything, it would be pretty fun to use like projectiles with this. So yeah, I did put piercing on here, so I'm sure that probably increases the damage a bit. But yeah, with projectile, there's also, a really fun thing, is to use the explosion component. Explosion. So if I increase the velocity, and use explosion, a weird thing, with explosion is that you can put range modifiers after the fact, after it, and it'll increase the size of the explosion. So if I do something like that, as you can see, the explosion isn't very big. It does cost a bit of mana to cast the explosion spell. I did make it so that it does take a large amount of mana. I might increase it slightly in the future, possibly. But if I increase the range a bit, it's an even bigger explosion. I wonder how big I can make this. If I increase it even further, if I stand back a bit, big explosion. Big giant explosion. Does cost a lot of mana. All this costs a lot of mana, so do it again. Giant explosion. So yeah, you can pretty much do a lot of things with this. So let's see. You can pretty much customize and make maxi spells however you see fit. There's also what else? There is the blink spell. Let me see. I did try. Let me just rename this blink. Okay. So actually I'm going to like move this projectile, but I'm gonna do touch. I'll do ethereal touch, and then that. So with touch and with blink, this has been taken from the magic mod by Space Chase Zero. Because I think in the original Ars Magica mod there's like a teleportation spell that you can use. Alright, I don't think. Alright, I thought I choose blink. Alright. If you just use touch and blink, it kinda doesn't really do much. It just kinda teleports you forward. It's kinda useless, but it's there in case somebody finds a use for it. And then there's also ethereal touch, and it'll just teleport you where your mouse cursor is. Oh, I need to turn back on my thing. And then there's projectile. I don't know. I haven't tested this with projectile. Let me just see if this so it pretty much kind of teleports you based on where the projectile hit. So if I were to it's a bit weird. Bit interesting. I guess someone could find useful in this. I know it could be a bit buggy. But yeah, that's with blink. There's also additional components like create water. It pretty much acts as a watering can. Works the same way as dig and plow. And then there's grow, harvest. You can increase the range of these two with area of effect and range and everything. So yeah, that pretty much is how the mod, at least with spell casting, that's like how the spell casting in this mod works. There is custom professions that you can gain once you've leveled up. You can either choose between the mana efficiency spells, which kind of reduce the mana cost, the mana conservation profession. It kind of gives you like a 25% chance that the spells that you cast won't cost any mana. There's also like mana professions that give you more mana, like max mana outputs and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much how this mod works. I do have ideas on how to like expand this mod, making it so that you'll have to learn these spell parts by giving up like a certain material or something like that and everything. I also was thinking about figuring out how to add more of the shapes from the original mod into here. I've just haven't figured out how to do that yet. But yeah, this is pretty much my my magic mod, how to use it, how to level up spells and everything. If you go to your if you go and sleep, if you've noticed that you've leveled up and you go ahead and sleep, it'll, because each level increases your mana regen amount, like the amount of mana you regen over time. And also once you've gained a level, you gain like 100 plus max mana. So like if I go to sleep now, as you can see, plus 1 mana regen, plus 1 mana regen. Take please don't crash. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, I am now at 200 mana. So I'll just put these away. Let me see if I can use the light spell. If I use touch in this. Light. Oh, it does work. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Alright, so if anybody wants to create an array of torches, there you go. You're able to do that. Not entirely sure. Can I place? I'm like experimenting as I'm going along. This is like how incredibly interesting you can get, how creative you can get with these spells. If I like do this, oh, huh, interesting. I'm surprised that it didn't destroy the projectile though. Oh. Okay, so it, oh, interesting. It placed a torch. It placed a torch. It didn't. Okay, so I placed a torch down there somewhere. That's a bit interesting. Okay, it placed a torch where the tree was. But yeah. So yeah, I do plan on adding more. If there's any like balancing issues, there is a GitHub. The source code is linked in the original mod page. If there's any bugs or if there's any suggestions for like perhaps maybe better balancing or like things that I could change or make more interesting, feel free to let me know. Also feel free to let me know if there's like a better translation for the art of wizardry that's in Latin that includes the word Ars, because I do want to use Ars in the name of this mod as a reference to the Minecraft magic mods that I've been using. So yeah, I hope this tutorial has been helpful. I'm a bit bad at explaining things and articulating my words, but hopefully this has been helpful, and I hope you find or have found this mod pretty useful as well. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and have fun making spells and doing magical things, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.